Hello, this is Rabbi Dr. Juan Marcos Brajona Gutierrez, and today we're continuing our trek through the study of the Second Temple period in relation to Jewish concepts of the afterlife or Jewish perspectives on life after death. We just finished a section that contained elements of the pseudepigrapha, although we do have some other elements that we'll come across shortly. But I wanted to switch gears just temporarily and look at a fascinating passage from the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Scrolls at Qumran. This is, I think, very fascinating because it gives us an impression of various concepts which are critical to understanding the framework of the Second Temple period and the different perspectives that were in play. Now, what we have here is a segment from the scrolls, and you can see here, if you're looking at the screen, we've got 4Q521. There's a numbering system that has been developed to document the scrolls, and that is to say there are multiple caves. So usually when you see 4Q, you'll see the fourth cave at Qumran, and then there'll be a particular fragment. So this, I believe, is 521, if I remember correctly. In any case, a lot of these fragments are incomplete. So you'll notice sometimes there may be ellipses or things of that nature that are missing. You can see it here on this line here, if you can see my cursor. In any case, we can see that it's a passage that relates some type of what we would call some kind of eschatological expectation that will bring about a Mashiach. Again, in the community at Qumran, there was more than one Mashiach. There were at least two, if not three. And they have a very complicated array of figures that do not necessarily exist in other perspectives of the day. So let's go ahead and read this. And it says, the heavens and the earth will listen to his Messiah, to the Mashiach. Again, we don't necessarily know if it's the priestly Messiah or the Davidic Messiah or another figure that maybe like a prophetic type Messiah or something like that. Whatever the case, and none therein will stray from the commandments of the holy ones. Seekers of the Lord, strengthen yourselves in his service, all of your hopeful in your heart. Will you not find the Lord in this? For the Lord will consider the pious, the Chassidim, as is what we refer to. And of course, this is very much in concert with the view of the Chassidim that we find in the book of Maccabees. And call the righteous by name. Over the poor his spirit will hover and will renew the faithful and his power. And he will glorify the pious on the throne of the eternal kingdom. He who liberates the captives, restores the sight to the blind, straightens the bent. And forever I will cleave to the hopeful and his mercy. And the fruit will not be delayed for anyone. And the Lord will accomplish glorious things which have never been as. And then we have some gaps, of course. And of course, in previous sections where we see fruit, for example, scholars have looked at the fragments and deduced that this is the word that best fits based off of the information that we have. For he will heal the wounded and revive the dead and bring good news to the poor. He will lead the uprooted in knowledge and smoke. And then that's all we have. So they're obviously missing elements there. I think if anyone who is listening has studied the Second Temple period and the messianic movements, of course, the inception of what we call Christianity, in many ways resonates with this particular passage, and I think that's what's caused some scholars to question the influence of the community at Qumran on Christianity. I think that you can find many scholars that would agree that there's certainly ideas that are present at Qumran in this Jewish sect, which certainly bleed over or feed into this messianic sect that becomes Christianity. I think it's important to remember, however, that the community of Qumran, of course, was extremely zealous for the Torah, so that makes them very different from many of the elements that you find within certain sectors of early Christianity. But I think in many ways it's fascinating because it gives us an idea, at least, of what this particular group saw as something that would happen in the future. So whatever Messiah this is, has miraculous powers. He has the ability to heal. He has the ability to revive the dead. And here, of course, you see this reference bringing good news to the poor. And again, that resonates with the view of early Christianity, but it sort of represents a uniquely Jewish view that stands independent from it. So if that makes sense, what I'm trying to communicate is that sometimes we look at ideas that are found in other religious traditions and we assume that they are foreign to the Jewish tradition or to the different Judaisms of a particular time period. And what we find at Qumran is we have just what would be the word, a treasure trove of different perspectives of what Judaism was during this time period. And so if other groups in the future happen to reflect these ideas, that's certainly interesting. But we have to be able to look at these views independently of whatever sects came after, if that makes sense. So again, here there's Mehaye Hamitim, coming back to our central topic of life after death. Again, we don't have a extensive review of what that means. It's just the life will return to the dead, and something will happen where the captives are liberated, etc. Miraculous things will happen. So this is something that we have from Qumran, and we'll continue to look at other passages that also provide us with additional information from the scrolls.